Hello everyone, welcome to What If Deku was a Shinigami or a demon? Specifically, this time lapse will be in between Midoriya's childhood and his teenage years. All the way towards about 15, 16. Midoriya would have fallen into a ravine after being bullied by Bakugo, or near the log they were on, the tree they were on, while they were kids, when Bakugo fell in the river, instead of that being a river, it would be a giant hole. If this is that hole, Midoriya would push Bakugo out the way and inevitably fall into the hole, dropping give or take 30 feet to 20 feet. JK, I'm not having Midoriya die instantly. It's about, give or take 10 feet, not that big. About the same size as a tree, so yeah. As soon as Midoriya would fall, there'd be no sound of dropping of a body. Nor an injured, nor a crying Izuku. Izuku would be in this dark room. Nothing but darkness. And there will be a tree with one apple on it. He wouldn't understand what this tree is nor what it represents due to his brain unable to see what this thing is. Since technically he's way more than a tree, but like other illusions, or like Galactus's looks, humans' perspectives of the actual entity is a lot more smaller or basic than they think. As the tree is a tree for him, but for others, something completely different. Midoriya would casually grab the apple, a very shiny red apple. And since he was a bit hungry at the time, and didn't seem that there's any way to get out, he would climb the tree and try to grab the apple. Midoriya, while trying to get the apple, would hear small voices. Or at least whispers. These whispers will get louder and louder every time he got closer to the apple. And of course, when it will get louder to the point where Midoriya can hear them clearly. Until the point when he actually grabbed the actual apple. At that point, all sound or noises around Midoriya would cease to exist. But of course, with the apple, the lights, or more lines, the darkness was revealed. Many, many demons and Shinigami were waiting. This apple was the last Shinigami apple. Meaning after this, the only way to actually become a Shinigami is to befriend one and die befriending a Shinigami. Besides that, there will be no other ways of becoming a Shinigami. And of course, Midoriya would wake up from his bed, as there would have been, heroes, or at least a couple heroes, or police, or something. I'll say just adults kind of got Midoriya out of the hole, using some type of rope cork or something. Yeah, because I feel like, that'd be way too much stuff. It was the police. So I'll say it was just, adults just getting a child out of a ditch. So yeah. Inko would be happy that her, child is alright. But of course, though, Midoriya's looks would be a little bit different. His green and black hair would turn completely black, with a shade of gray. His eyes would become a pure green into more of a bluish or red color. This would have Midoriya a headache. He wouldn't understand why, but his headache would be very severe. As his mother would hug him, squish him, and he would fall back to sleep, since it was nighttime at that point. Midoriya would fall back asleep. Inko, thinking it is some sort of quirk awakening or, late bloomer, she would send to the quirk doctor. The quirk doctor would have nothing on his vital scans to say that Midoriya has anything of this sort of quirk. No quirk, no nothing. So they just put it down as some sort of new evolution of a quirk that can't be described or found out by the natural means of a left joint pinky toe. Midoriya would feel... he would feel different. His cheery self would become more realistic in his goals. But at the same time, still retaining most, or at least the main goals he has in mind. Even if his goals change. He wants to become a hero. Not #1 hero, but a hero and a great hero in that. Midoriya's body would be adapting to his new abilities. And will be adapting to the natural, balance of abilities he would gain. The first changes will be his hair and eye color, and somewhat of his skin tone. But besides that, there'll be no true differences. Little changes in personality, very unnoticeable, and some tics that will occur. But of course, they wouldn't really be noticed since they're very little, or unnoticeable at least. Midoriya would like eating apples. Extremely, in fact. This would have Midoriya thinking. He would think it would be a quirk, but very slowly realize it not being a quirk. He would look at the apple and bite into it. He would feel a very sweet, watery sensation in his mouth. The juiciness of the apple is pure. Very plump and ripe, as an apple can be. Over this time, Midoriya would look through the apartment complex window, looking through somewhat of the city, or at least his block. Decently far away. And we'll just think. If a villain is too dangerous, if a villain is too dangerous to have around, you should kill them. But only if capturing them only leads to more negativity or killings. But if you capture them and they don't, then they're safe to keep alive. The concept almost of Stain, but a lot more viewable of a standpoint. Like All for One. All for One is too dangerous and too smart to have around to live. But only those who manage to avoid all other circumstances that Midori can counter. If they cannot be countered properly and stay in prison, then there is nothing for them but death. Death is a concept only given to those who either have aged, have died due to natural causes, due to third parties, or those who are murdered. There are many ways one person can die, and they're almost limitless. Midori would go to the school the next day, as Bakugo would see him. He would notice that Midoriya didn't call him Kacchan. In fact, just avoided him altogether. And the thing is, to Midori, it seemed natural, with an uneasiness to it. No Kacchan, no hi Bakugo, nothing. Just completely avoided Bakugo, as if it was a casual thing he did in his daily life. As if he didn't exist. Simple as that. The memories of bullying, he would still have or contain them inside of his mind. He just wouldn't care for them. And he would avoid conflict at certain points. And Bakugo would get irritated. The one person he truly cared for the praise was gone. As Midoriya's, or sorry, not Midori, but Bakugo's anger will grow dramatically. The one person that mostly cared that he praised for was Midoriya. And since that was gone, there was kind of countered Bakugo's judgment. Not upon himself, but upon others. That no matter how much satisfaction you can have in the world, as soon as the main satisfaction is gone, everything else is more of a handicap, you can say. Showing that once all of the things you like are gone, it shows you true colors. And that is what Midori was to Katsuki. They were friends of unequivocally friendship. Of course, the next day, there would be a transfer student. And the name would be Susumaru. They would introduce themselves as Susumaru. And would look around the room, the classroom, looking at every student. And what would appear, or at least the most odd one out of all of them, would be Midoriya. There will be this unknowing aura about him. Something not sinister, but something shadowy. A dark aura almost. Something that reeks of death almost. as they would sit next to Izuku. And that is where I'll end this video.